Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Mikko-Pekka Hanski, and I'm very happy to be here. Last time I was here, I was speaking to people from Kone, the elevator company. They had a technology today, and my speak was about what happens in technology about in 30 years or so. So I'm not going to speak about that at all today. I'm going to speak about what are our experiences working with startups, and especially when we are working with startups, where we try to incorporate design thinking, user experience thinking in the way the startups start their process and what comes out of it. So that's my topic. Yeah. But first, when we're talking about user experience, my title is like Startup Life is too short for crappy user experience. So I'm going to present the avatar over here. Her name is Mary, and along the presentation I will get back to this lady, because whenever you are starting a startup, you're making an application or service or something like this, there's always an end user to it. And end user quite often nowadays is a human being. So I'm going to go through the elements of user experience, but always keep in mind this lady and everything that we are actually doing, what we are doing for these persons. So this is Mary. So 3 topics. First I'm going to explain from my experience why user experience usually sucks, why it doesn't actually go very well, what are the main reasons to it. Then I'm going to show you a couple of ways how you can avoid those pitfalls. And then thirdly, I'm going to show you a couple of cases that we've done with startups, that what you can actually expect when things go right. Briefly about Idean is that we are now 65 people. We are I'm based here in Helsinki. We have Tampere office, and in California, Palo Alto, where we started last year. And what we do is that we have visual designers, interaction designers, and front-end developers. So basically, whatever digital user interface, small or big, we can be there helping our clients. And but the element of user experience is that I try to focus that there's plenty of theories about user experience, but there's this one theory that our cognition, our mind is built so that we make first-hand decisions very, very quickly about do we survive or not. And that's the first emotional attachment to the user interface, that we try to think, first analyze that does this interface tries to kill me or does it want to help me? That's the very first thinking, and this is very important to the startups, especially because as a startup you have only the one time to make a first impression, and therefore that's the theoretical background. Again, this lady watching App Store, seeing, oh, that's a nice, good recommendations, nice app icon over there, downloads it, opens it, and it's 1.111001 seconds, and she makes a decision, is this worth it or not? And if you think about that first-hand decision, if she thinks that this probably is not worth it, it's really, really difficult to change her mind to something else. You need a lot of benefit programs, you need to motivate her that, hey, come on, download again, and hey, here's some new stuff going on over there. You need to do a lot of effort if you miss the first-hand impression. So what happens when you have a crappy user experience means that this Mary thinks that, oh, maybe it isn't worth it. In person's mind, what happens over there is that they start fearing. They fear that, I don't know, maybe I spent my money for nothing. They feel shame. Oh, I can't use it. Maybe I'm a bad person. And fourth one is that they feel anger. Oh, I hate these products. Why doesn't it work? And then after these ones, they get defensive. They say that, okay, I just leave the app over there, I won't ever use it. So first reason why the user experience doesn't work is actually the entrepreneur. and the startup entrepreneur. And the reason I think is that when you get an idea that, hey, this application would be a really cool thing, you start gaining a lot of knowledge about the application, about the problem and so forth, and you become the best expert of the solution for that particular problem. So what happens with entrepreneurs that they fell in love with their own idea, and they start actually evolving the whole idea. And what happens after that one, that quite like after 3 months or 4 months of the thing, the entrepreneurs, they like get tired of the original idea. They find something new, something more interesting, and the original idea, the great enlightenment actually, then gets forgotten. That's first thing. The entrepreneur is the main reason why the user experience is crappy. Then are the consultants. I can give an example of my first, when I founded the company, I had an idea that in '98, and we had a prototype as well, about the web platform where users could publish their text, pictures, and maybe videos, and we would sell advertisement to those videos targeted to the content that users were doing in '98. And then I went to the venture cap in Jyväskylä, central part of Finland, and the venture capital said that, no, who would want to write stuff on internet or publish their videos on internet, and who would want to target over there? I was thinking that maybe no one, and then came YouTube. So maybe that's the other reason why the user experience work is that quite often as an entrepreneur you start getting a lot of information from consultants, like me, or like people at the design factory, from Technopolis, from everyone. They all have an opinion where to go, and this opinion have different background where it's coming from, and that's something that these consultants actually also it's fake, the original idea. And based on the entrepreneur and for the consultants, what is the real big problem with the crappy user experience? The disease called featureitis. It means that when you have an idea, you focus on one single solution over there. Then you start building more and more features. Maybe if I add this one, this gets even more better. Maybe it's this one, this gets even more better. Consultants say that, hey, you should do this one. Hey, I add that one. So what happens that the scope of the original idea start blending, there comes more stuff, but actually if you think about the Mary, the user, she is actually interested about the solution to the problem that you actually first ideated. So this is and fourth reason is that after iPhone, the whole design industry actually just like started. Because then people realized that, hey, maybe this user experience really have a business impact. But what happened after Steve Jobs' autobiography was that everyone thought that, hey, I can be Steve Jobs as well. So this is, fourth one is that entrepreneurs, consultants, we get quite soon this feeling of arrogance, that I know what is best for the users, and so forth. So these are the reasons for the user experience when it doesn't really work. So how do you actually avoid these things? First one is that you keep in mind constantly who you are actually working for. It's not the finance guy, it's not the government, or it can be, but the government is also based on human beings. There's always an end user involved in the value creation of so you need to keep in mind that who you are working. And this person, she has some problems in her everyday life to which you are giving solutions, and that's it. It's so simple if you keep in mind that person. The second one is that, of course, you have a different kind of process of going. And nowadays we speak about a lot of agile development and, hey, let's get things done and so forth. But if you're creating experiences, it's a creative process. And one part of creative process is that you need to give time for things to evolve. It doesn't, you might get an idea like instantly that this is the logo, this is the experience what we are doing, but quite often it's the time that you give to each step in process it's important. So it means that if you're hiring a freelance designer and you expect that, hey, next day, give me something over there, maybe you are not getting the right thing. You need to have patience on it as well. Third one is that designing things is more like taking things away, like verifying, simplifying what is really important in this application, in this service. And this is, I think, it's a really difficult thing for entrepreneur or startup person to do, is because you start adding up things that, hey, I learned that this is cool thing, I learned that this is cool thing, and actually you should actually start doing other way around. Then that to create a user experience is not a work of an artist. It's not a work of a developer, it's not work of a commercial person, it's a combination of everything. And we hear a lot of stories about Mark Zuckerberg and these Evan Williams, those guys that just had, like, individually made something great happening. But no, there was always a team to it. So I would say that one really good reason is that hire a consultant or get a good partner or do something, but just don't do it by yourself. And fourth one is that you need a good, like a rock star. And this, by rock star, I mean that when you are selling the startup or you're selling the experience, you need credibility to it. So if Keith Richards says that, hey, this band is good, maybe people listen. But if Mikko-Pekka, nobody from Finland says that, hey, this band is good, nobody will listen. So you need good mentors and startups. This Keith Richards is, by the way, Idean's like an idol. We think that good user interface needs to be as easy to use as Keith Richards' guitar solos to be understood. So that's, and then coming to the like activities. I think only way for the creative work is to iterate, have a critique, iterate, reflect during one day, during 1 week, and continuously. So what it happens, there's one startup called Kidapt, to which we made a user interface for them. So this is first idea of it. Then, I don't know, maybe it should be something else. Maybe it's something about the users. And these 3 iterations were done during one week. I'm going to explain a little bit later what this Kidapt actually do. But this is from the user experience way of thinking, that what is the iteration and reflection. So why this all is important? So what you can actually expect from here. Again, this is the reason why good user experience is important, because she is actually paying all the bills at the end. So I think we need to really think about what does this Mary, what are her key jobs that he wants to perform, what are the key problems that he wants to solve. So what are the impact of not crappy user experience? People are happy, things work, they are relaxed. I don't have to pay too much attention, I don't have to think too much when I'm using this application. I just take a picture and then I put a nice layer on it and then I publish it on Facebook, like Instagram. People are relaxed using Instagram. And we are peaceful. I don't have to, jump around and do something like that. Take it easy. And fourth one is, I think, is really cool impact of good user experience. People get motivated. One of the greatest things about motivation is that if people think, hey, I really want to use this Instagram application. What happens after that one? They said, hey, you should use it as well. So that's, I think, is the really good impact of user experience. People start speaking about it. Hey, this Spotify is so easy to use. You should try it as well. So I think instead of causing fear, anger, shame, and defensive mode, you should be providing happiness, less stress, peaceful moments, and people are motivated to speak about it. So that's very simple way of putting that what I'm speaking of here. So what actually that means in real? So as I said that we have a company in Idean USA in Palo Alto, and in Palo Alto we work with a couple of big companies, but plenty of startups there. We have a couple of partners there, the incubators. They go through a couple of hundred startup ideas, and from the companies that comes to their portfolio, we do the user interface for those companies. And the idea for the finance guys over there is to think about there's no point of financing any company if the experience sucks. There might be a good team, good technology over there, but there's no point of financing it if the experience doesn't work. So there we are at that point, and especially in Silicon Valley, to get a really good designer into your team is very hard to get, so we are there helping getting designers into the teams as well, working as part of the workshop startup. Here in Finland we have a couple of examples there. If you know a company called Kiosket, it's a phone tagging application. We did that user interface, and then a company called Scoopshot. We can take a picture and put that to sell for the newspaper, so we did that user interface as well. So here's one example of good user interface for startup that I want to. So this is a Member Planet, a company that provides. They have a really big risk of getting illness or featureitis. And they are providing service for NGOs in USA, that NGOs can handle all their finance transactions, all their membership database. It's a combination of Facebook, ERP, bank, and CRM system to NGOs. So if you think about that, you have an NGO and you want to manage that everything, so with the Member Planet you can do it. So there's a lot of risks of doing it. So the user interface is like this. And you can believe what kind of fights we have been going with this startup, that they've been adding a lot of interfaces, features. We've been taking them away as soon as we get. And these are one of the final drafts of it. So there's the app icon, application, and the web service. And I think if you think about the idea, an NGO who handles membership communication, membership data, everything that they do, and transactions, this is pretty simplified user interface for that kind of thing. And it's not public yet. It will be out there, and we hope that TechCrunch will write a lot about it. And then, do we have
user experience and design? In this case, a partner and I were working on a mobile service, and it was, in our case, the first time that we were working on something mobile. And based on the little we knew about the space and how to pull off a great app, we knew that user experience and visual design had to be pretty killer. And so we wanted to find the best. We wanted to find somebody who had great engagement with us. I really believe in relationships and building a connection with a partner. And so I always approach a new potential partnership with a lot of skepticism, and I did the same in this case. And we did talk to several different firms. The thing that really defined Idean for me was both obviously the capability from the past work that I had seen, but also in terms of the engagement level that I saw, which is typically the reason why we go internal. But I felt that there was really no difference in this case. Initially, we hired Idean.
What I want to show over here, this Jeffrey over here, he's a startup guy who most likely want to insource everything that they do. And all these consultants with suits and everything, he's very skeptic about it. And what you need to, as a startup persons, you need to expect from the designer or whoever is coming a lot of commitment. And I think that the more relevant for this guy is not about the experience that we created for his application. It's more like the commitment from the designers. Because if the designer don't feel the commitment to the startup idea, the end result will not be as good. So here there's a interesting application that we tried to figure out experience that there's a white on white. So how do you actually do a very stylish, very clear, like a snow kind of experience? And this application is about, you have tons of pictures somewhere, and it actually categorizes it and maybe shows you that, hey, do you remember what happened 10 years ago? And so there's all kinds of this, but this is the experience. And yeah, there's not the guy.
Parents, through this dashboard and portal that Idean is designing for us. After seeing what Idean has presented to us in terms of these concepts, and now we're going to actually engage with them to build the technology that underlines all these concepts, folks have been, I'd say, far more moving towards the believer side in terms of will parents actually engage with concepts like this than they were before. And that moves the needle tremendously for us as a business. What they brought to the table essentially has given a totally new light to the product. And when you couple that with the fact that we asked for them to just toy around with a logo just in passing, and they came back with 10 versions over 4 or 5 days of different iterations for our logo. That same commitment that they've had to us as a customer is something that we want to have with our customers. They've sent us several mock-up.
Okay. Yes, the application is Kidapt. These guys are from Stanford, and what they do is that they create Pixar quality animations for kids 3 to 6 years, and kids can watch them and then do some chores afterwards. And this dashboard over here is about that how parents and kids can together see what they actually learned. Kidapt movie is about color recognition, empathy, feelings, and that kind of learning. So you can imagine the dashboard that it needs to be really, really good. So I showed you these couple of concept ideas. So this is the final one. There's an article from the TechCrunch over there. At this point, I was saying that when you are doing the user interface, you shouldn't actually set for the just good enough user experience. This guy here said that the design brought light to the product. He also said that the design made our proposition credible, that we can actually truly say that people will love it. And he would also continue that when they were pitching that the venture caps also love it. So I think that whoever is doing the user experience, is it you or someone else, I think you shouldn't actually set for just good enough thing. And I think that's really important thing to close my presentation. So first of all, as a summary, you need to say no to a crappy UX. Then you need to find right people, whether it be you or your friends, or from Idean, or from IDEO, or Frog, whatever. And then first you need to have fun while doing it. And so by this, I want to share the light that it's really easy to mess the user experience, especially because of you as a startup person, because of your consultants, because of Steve Jobs, and because of the illness of featureitis. But it's very easy way to overcome those things is to remind that who do you actually work for, is the end user, give time to each step. What else was I saying? All kinds of things. But the first is then you need to expect from the design a commitment to your idea, and also you need to expect from the design the awesomeness, that whatever it means.